on things that's going on and things that we have in place in regards to combating certain, certain things like traffic. When I was speaking with one of the neighborhood associates, things like traffic, speed bumps, the bike lane, things of that nature. I've already gotten those concerns. I'm gonna make sure that I put it in a spreadsheet and email it as well so that you all can see where it's going and the information that it's going to and the units that's gonna handle that stuff. And just to get all of your information so that, we can make sure that things are getting taken care of and we're creating a safer zone for all.
So tell us what happened.
Okay, so yesterday we walked into the precinct and
where's the precinct?
Okay, I'm sorry, Zone 6 precinct. Hosea L. Williams, 2025, Hosea L. Williams. And you see it's a beautiful structure on the outside. But of course, it needed some updates.
Well, I can't turn it down. I don't know how to turn it down. All right, bye.
So we walk into the precinct, unknowingly that it was going to be soccer players in there because I would have, walked a certain way. We walk in and it's, Atlanta Falcons, rooms to go, and they redecorated the entire upstairs precinct. So please stop by. I'm going to email some pictures. But please stop by and feel free to do ride along. We want to build that closeness with the community. So we have more people coming along and do ride along just to get a feel of, both sides of things. The policing side and and the citizen side and then peer concerns as well. So please feel free to come by, bring food, bring food, and just come and sit in one of the leather recliners and just stop in on our roll calls or anything like that. Even watch roll calls at 2 and 3. So if you want to come and stop and just sit in our roll calls, just see how things are done and how Major Vasquez and Captain Clay are amazing leaders and how they run the zone and how information gets distributed and how we have to work with other units and at City Hall and things like that. Just feel free to stop by. We'll love to have you guys. Other than that, I don't have anything further. Questions for us? Yes.
Can you go off the top of your head what the law is as far as working on industry?
You can't. You can't.
So when you call 311 or 911?
So you will call 311 and you'll go ahead and you'll put in a complaint. That's the criminal part. We handle the street part. If it's adjacent to a house, let's deal with code enforcement. Code enforcement deals with junk trash debris, junk vehicles, inoperable vehicles, things that are adjacent. Exactly, because the search bar, so much stuff comes up. So you can email me those concerns as well, and I'll have you in the email thread what we'll do to work on that issue. And how we'll have y'all to yes, the call center is good as well. And they'll point you in the right direction. They'll go ahead and put the complaint in for you, and then we'll handle it from there. Okay? Anything else? Well, thank you for having us. Oh, wait, we have one more.
At the NPU meeting, we were talking about a new program about people that have drug problems or database records.
The PAD program. No, so that's called the PAD program. So the city is trying to adopt a PAD program where actually it is a first offender and they do something that's minute, like city charge, like for example, we have urban capital and they're on the back of they're on your property. So do you want to press charges or would you rather them go through a mediation with the PAD program that finds a service for them to live and give them a warning so that they don't return? And if they do return, that's when we'll take the next step of action. So the private program that's joining in with the city to help, arrest the burden program, but it's still up to the victim. It's still up to the victim on if you want them to, if you don't want to press charges for something that's minor, and you want PAD to come in and do their diversion program, or if you do, then we continue the criminal process.
And just to piggyback on what Sergeant Smith has said already, we have some handouts that we want to leave in reference to the scooter law. Our scooter accidents are on the rise and people are really getting hurt. And people are also having to take citations and tote those citations down to the hospital with them. Because again, they're in the wrong. You can't have more than one person on the school. You're not supposed to use your cell phone. It's just a lot of city ordinances that we put out to make sure that the citizens are safe as you walk in, and motorists are also safe. And again, we want to make sure you get great customer service from our officers. If you interact with an officer and you don't get that great customer service, please. It's a link you can go to on the City of Atlanta's website where you can file a complaint. We hope you never have to do that. But again, if you get bad customer service on the scene, you can ask for a supervisor, or again, you can go ahead on and file that complaint through the link on the website. And one more thing I was going to bring up was 602 beef, which is this beef here. We love it over here. It's so nice. The restaurants are so nice where you can sit out on the patio, you can walk, you can have quick access to the passports. But 602 drives out crime as far as larceny goes. We just ask that if you're going to visit, you're going to take part in all those nice restaurants and stuff, that you do secure your valuables at home. A lot of people come from the airport. I'll meet you there so we can have a nice drink out on the patio. No, it's not a good idea. Take your stuff home first, please. Please take your stuff home first, because with ladies, we have a habit, oh, I'm just gonna keep my purse under the seat, nobody sees me. But believe me, someone is always looking, and we just hate when we come out and your belongings are gone and they've confiscated it and turned it into their stuff, and then you gotta call your bank, you gotta stop this card, you gotta stop the bank, the checks at the bank. So let's just make sure, again, y'all, we're putting out the word that we love it over here. It's so nice. We should be able to come and enjoy ourselves without becoming addicted. So just want to make sure we put that out.
And just one more thing. So I know a lot of you all are, great neighbors, and we're going back to that community where we watch each other. It takes a village. It takes a village to combat crime. It takes a village to catch burglars. It takes all of that. So if any of you have the Ring cameras, or you have any type of video footage, and you see something that looks suspicious, someone prowling or walking back and forth, someone you don't recognize in the neighborhood, someone doubled up on a scooter with a book bag on or anything like that, please send any of that video footage to our CID precinct. And if you're ready, I'll give you that email link, and I'll also send it to you as well.
Okay, good.
So yeah, I'll send it to you, but it is Zone 6 CID at atlantanga.gov. Because you don't know what type of crimes you will help solve with that. So if you will, anyone that, and sometimes I know with my neighborhood, we share video. We have the neighbor share type thing as well. So anything suspicious, please send it or call and let us know, because you don't know if we just had, a rash of burglaries over here or car break-ins over here, and we can put it, try to link it together.
The number 6. ZONE, the number 6, you spell it out, Atlanta, GA.gov. But ZONE, the number 6, at Atlanta, spelled out, GA.gov.
But it's zone number 6, CID, at AtlantaGA.gov.
And one last thing I want to make sure we don't forget to say, because I've been telling everyone at the community meetings, we would love for you to meet your beat officer. In between calls, if you would like for your beat officer to stop by your home, shake your hand so you can see who's coming out, who's servicing your area, who's answering 911 calls in your area. Give us a call, and give us a call at the precinct, and in between calls, we will have your officer come by and meet you. We would love that. We would, like Sabrina said again, Dr. Smith said, we would love to see you all come by the precinct as well. Okay. Thank you.
Bring cookies out of the way.
Yes.
Bring cookies out of the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm not gonna
Thank you.
They did a great job decorating.
Thank you. Next, a couple of quick announcements. Mallory, you want to give us a heads up about our Peachy Clean?
Yeah, who came out this weekend to help with PG Clean? Thank you guys very much. We had probably about 60 neighbors and people close by come out to clean every street of Ponce, Highland. It was great. So hopefully you guys are enjoying. And then the very next day it rained, which was great. It was like a wet track, which was awesome. We had a lot of great sponsors. So We really appreciate it. It's an event that we'll do every single year, so we'll hopefully get better.
Thank you. And after party at New Realm.
After party
Thank you
round,
to them.
thank you to New Realm.
Excellent. Thank you and Mark Rodette for organizing. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks to all of you.
We'll go through the numbers. And what was the most unique piece of trash?
Oh, we found a full weighing scale, like a scale that you would, I don't know, I think a laundry scale maybe, I don't know.
And I hear that,
Water meter.
Ed Hagener had the worst place because he was over under the bridge.
He did inspire some of our urban campers to help him. Sweet. While he was there.
Oh, I'm talking about you, Ed, man. You had the worst. Thank you for being behind, under the bridge, man. It was because I've been driving over there and seeing all that. Thank y'all so much for that. Keith Pepper has an announcement. Keith is working on our fundraising for us, and he has a little something he wants to share with us.
So we're going to so I think that most of you know that next year we're going to celebrate 100 years of Poncey Highland. And so to do that, we're going to try and reboot membership into the neighborhood association. So starting hopefully tonight or tomorrow on social, we're going to post a design contest for a new logo. That will be the logo of 100 years of the neighborhood. And we'd love to get participation from any artists, even if any of you have kids that are graphic designers or anyone that wants to submit into that. It'll be a very easy Google form that you can upload a PDF or any sort of image. And then we'll run it for 4 weeks. We'll vote on it and a method to be determined, finalized very soon. And then we'll have the winner announced in December. And then that will be the logo that will take us through next year. It's like a special 1-year thing to commemorate 100 years. And it'll be on the website, on t-shirts, stickers, and any other collateral that we do for fundraising. So just be on the lookout for that. And yeah.
And so you're going to share the info via Facebook, next door, website.
The next email.
Okay, excellent.
The quicker way will be on Instagram.
And do you know that dates yet? You said 4 weeks.
Well, 4 weeks until November 15th, and then we'll have 2 weeks to run the thing, and then we'll have it done by December 1st.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Is there anybody that I've forgotten? I'm so sorry, y'all. That was going to say something. Okay. Halloween. Ooh, Halloween. And Chris is not here. And look at his face, is like, I'm not saying anything. Halloween contest is out there. It's on the website. It's the very top thing on the website. Please, y'all, sign up to do it. I've seen some great looking houses in the neighborhood, and so far we only have 1 person that signed up. We have 3 prizes yet to be determined, but please sign up, and so we get a little neighborhood Halloween competition going. So does anybody have any question about that? It is on the website. So, and Chris Tilley did it's just an awesome graphics he did. So please go look at it and sign up, and thank you. So next we have land use. And land use, we've had some land use over the past few months. Lisa Mulaney is our land use chair. She will tell us what's coming where, and we have the folks in the room to do that. And so briefly remind everybody just a little bit about land use and NPU.
So the way land use works in Atlanta is applications go through the NPU system. So they start with the neighborhood level in our NPU. That means coming to the land use committee, and the land use committee votes to recommend the application to move forward or not. The board votes to move the application forward or not. And then all of you, whoever shows up at these meetings, votes to move the application forward or not. So basically the votes whether you're supporting the application moving up the chain. Then it gets to the NPU-N meeting, which happens the 4th Thursday of every month. We have an NPU chair, who's Corey, right here, who goes to those meetings. And the NPU votes on the application, and then it goes to the DRB or the city for the final determination. So the votes up the chain are recommendations, and then the final vote at BZA or DRB is the binding final vote. Does anybody have any questions about that? Should I leave anything out? So the first up, we have 3 applications tonight. The first one is 863 Ponce. So this is a rezoning application. This is B19077, and also a variance application, B19192. So the rezoning application is a change in conditions. This property is already zoned MRC to B. The last C at the end is the condition. So they're changing the conditions from 52 feet where they're asking to change the conditions from 52 feet to 100 feet. And what the land use committee has done is looked at, so the land use committee, and then these guys also, so the applicant, this is their third time, the third time the land use committee folks are seeing this. They deferred for a month, and we had a special meeting. They came to the folks to ask questions or see these plans. Raise your hand if you came to the special meeting. Quite a few of you did. And they made some adjustments following the land use meeting and following the special meeting. And so they're here to present. So the change in conditions is to go from, this is the tiny parcel where Moose is. So to go from 52 feet is what the lot been to now to 100 feet. The building is actually 90 feet. So when land use looked at these and after input from everybody, we voted to support this application with some conditions. And one of the conditions is that they keep it to 90 feet, which is as it's designed now. So they don't really need the extra 10 feet. Another condition is that they use vine to screen the parking structure. Another condition is that they let the neighborhood specify the street trees on the property. So Greg Levine, who I think most of you know, who's the co-executive director of Trees Atlanta, specified the trees. And then we are also talking to them about materials. The conditions. So with that, I will turn this over.
Did you mention the right part?
Oh, right, thank you. And so the other thing was, you can't see in this drawing, there's a, the space they originally designed had 1,800 square feet of retail and a lot of parking, and we asked if they couldn't get rid of some of the parking. We're all about reducing parking in Poncey, Highland, in order to make this retail space a little bit bigger. And what that did is it allowed the building to engage a little bit better with the park on the park side of the property. So that there'll be a patio and then this retail or restaurant, it could be a restaurant space, will wrap around so that we'll get eyes on the park. And just to, you know, it's a great space with a sculpture there, just so there's more interaction. And so they accommodated that design change as well. And I'll let you talk about all the other changes you made in response to input from neighbors. So this was input from the land use committee, they met with twice, and then that special neighbor meeting.
I'm Kevin Martin, architect of Placemaker Design. This is Douglas Harris, director of the development team. Lisa went over what we're looking for on the variance side. The reduction needed local space according to such 20%. Rationale there, we have a very narrow site. We're using gross lot areas. So using gross lot area, you're now going to take your 3 surrounding right of ways, and that's pushing up the required local space on a very narrow site. Then on the zoning side, we're changing one condition from the 52-foot height up to 100 feet, although I think this was going to be right about 90, the max out of 90. So those were that part right here, the building mixed-use trailer. The building itself is going to be mostly storefront, you know, some stucco. We're going to have some trims for the point of being hardy. We do have some good accents in different places on the building. We're going to have one level of, you know, retail and parking at the Ponce level. So as you go down Barnett, we'll have another level of parking as you will enter behind the building along the alley. 5 levels of residential on top of the retail level and parking level. It'll be wholesale condos. And like we said, we've worked on a number of changes, you know, with the neighborhood, like increasing the retail size. You know, we're trying to wrap the retail around the side of the park, but now we're kind of activating the park, so now there's going to be some action. We'll have a patio out there facing the park, so something we have in the park, as opposed to homeless gentlemen always run into it for the front. When I've been out there. We did the usual street trees, streetscape, improving sidewalks. I don't know if anybody has any particular questions or if you want to take specific talk about anything. We're about 2,100. We'll bring John after meeting you with the other folks. She was wrapping that now around the corner. So with the park side over here, we're now trying to wrap the retail around and the patio around, just kind of activate that corner. You know, obviously, we want to keep all the trees around the park, but we would have an opportunity to take up the pond to create some activation with the patio and do some windows.
For those of you who weren't at the meeting where you got to see, and you can walk up and look at these up close too, there's the existing Misc patio, so that's kind of the same place that this patio would be, but then the retail space would wrap around.
It's hard to tell from here, but is the front of the building mostly glass?
Yeah,
That curtain behind all the glass? Is that curtain?
yeah, you're seeing storefront behind kind of a grid of metal that kind of gives it a shadow line in front of it.
So, I guess my concern is reflection. The more glass, the more reflection. Again, I had issues, we had issues with the reflection off of the glass as you walk down the belt line and all those new buildings, all the glass, heats up hot spots everywhere. And that's facing the south, so I think
Well,
the north.
these are recessed 5 feet back, so, yes, that will be facing north.
Like, I can't see very well from here.
The west side, the west,
5 foot balcony here.
yeah, there's a 5-foot balcony on all sides.
Right.
So there will be a lot of shadow. We tried to show that with the shadowing that's going on here, and then we have a metal grid trying to give it articulation so it's not just flat. Right. We have a mix of materials between stucco, the wood screen, soften it, and then obviously we'll have some cementitious panel, but we're trying to limit that.
Then on the side.
And on the side, on this side, it's almost covered in trees. You know, there's a huge stand of trees here, and that's the west side. So, you know, to your point, we have a view here of what it'll probably end up looking like. I don't know if you can see this, but you might want to come up. But it barely pokes above the trees. So it's going to be well tucked in behind the tree on that side. Obviously, on this side, we'll have the same condition as we do on the Ponce side, on the west side. 5-foot balcony again, same kind of materials. And then facing the townhome, much narrower. This thing is almost a triangular shaped lot, so it becomes very narrow. Not much, not nearly as much glass on that side. A couple of balconies as well. But yeah.
Okay.
So.
Is there any consideration of making it look less modern, keep it, make it a little more traditional, looking like they kind of the coffee street?
You mean like Carlson? Yeah, the one that's out there. Honestly, no.
Doesn't look fit in our neighborhood, the style of home raising in the neighborhood.
Honestly, I mean, I would argue that it'd be better to go this direction because I feel like buildings like the Carlson really don't do justice to the traditional look that you're talking about a lot.
Better than that, in my opinion, but that's going the other way.
Just the cost of it is tough to do and do it right. You know, we'd end up with a watered down traditional postcard looking building if we went that direction. I think the articulation we're able to give on the modern sense, there's a lot more detail we can give here than we could if we went the other direction.
You guys encroaching in the park at all?
Are we no, we're not in the park at all. There's a 20-foot transitional buffer that we're asking that is our property that they have, so we've asked to go into 10 feet, but it's still our property. We have not. We've sent out an email to the group of them, but we have not.
So, tell me anything about the buffer that should
Because it's up against the park, there is a 20-foot transitional buffer along the park. It's just I think something that was written into the zoning. We requested to come into that 20-foot transitional buffer 10 feet because it is a park and there's nothing that would be built next to us. And that there's a large stand of trees there that's hiding the building that we are not going to be removing. Except there's a couple of non-native Chinese elms that we might pick out.
So that's a variance.
Yeah. You know, no, that's an SAP.
So that's a different process. So it's a little bit confusing because this project has to go through the rezoning, and then the variance is the open space, and then separately it goes through a Beltline SAP. That's because it's in the Beltline overlay. So that's the process where they look at the buffer. And one of the things that the park folks are probably interested in, and the Beltline, and all of us are kind of like, well, if we, so like Patrick said, the buffer is on his property, not on the park property, so they're not going into the park property. It's just where they require a zone between. But because that sculpture is there, it could be something with a path or some landscaping to kind of connect it to the park even more. So those discussions will probably happen as part of the SAP process. But that's not something that we're being asked to look at right now.
And see, Kevin has reached out, and the Conservancy met last night, and it's on our radar, so we'll do that. Steve was on the Freedom Park Conservancy board, so that's.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you for that.
And to clarify, we're only encroaching restaurant going to 10 feet on just the 2 parking levels. We're setting the tower back, the 5 levels of condos back. So only 2 levels are encroaching on that 20-foot buffer. And you can walk up if you like. Ponce is up here, Barnett is here. So the park is over here.
Where are you asking for a zoning change, and where are you asking for variance?
The zoning changes the height. So we're asking, it would be about here, we're asking for
That's the zoning.
that's strictly just the zoning.
And then the variance,
The variance is the open space requirement that's on this site because it's bounded by 3 right-of-ways. And when they do the calculations for open space requirement, they do it based on right-of-way. So they go 50 feet, and they include that as your gross lot area. And because this is, go ahead.
third right away is a little mountain down here.
No, the third right-of-way is the park itself.
The park is a right-of-way.
So we were asking a 50% reduction. Now, as you can see, we still have a lot of open space. And open space, meet the open space requirement, you have that balcony, rooftop terraces, things like that. We're basically got balconies on it. Trying to meet it as much as we can.
How many units again, and how many parking spaces were you at initially, and how many parking spaces are you at now?
We have 50 units, and they're 1 and 2 bedrooms, and we have, I think it's 63 parking spaces now, or 65.
Yeah, I think we took 2 off to increase the size of the retail. So we're generally 2 spaces, 1 space per bedroom. So for the 1 bedroom, you got 1 space, 2 bedrooms. Not all of them have 2 spaces, but most have 2 spaces.
And how many retail spaces? So 3, or did you say?
We have to bump with 1. Yeah, it's 1 per 600.
Is the intent for that to be 1 retail space, or are you gonna evaluate based on?
Yeah, it's nice to pick one, especially on a signature restaurant that could really activate that patio. That would be our goal. But it would depend on what interest we have.
How much smaller will this building be compared to the building in another side of Parliament?
So which one are you talking about? The lake building that was over there, or?
Is there not a building right across the street?
881.
881, the historic building is there.
Oh. Yeah, so here's the historic building.
Yeah.
Remember, the historic building comes basically to kind of this 3rd level.
Yeah, the ridge one's right there.
The ridge of the historic building is about 4 feet up. I think it's even 4 stories off. Just to give you a sense of scale, there's the lake building that's being renovated, because it's up on a ridge. These will be about the same.
The lake building, does everyone know which building that is? The groovy, you look kind of old fashioned house.
Mixer here, on that.
Yeah, pretty much. As tight as it is, with the market there, you actually are going to do the cost. Well, we haven't purchased it yet, so it's all in the this process. Our interest in purchasing think this is one of the few projects that activates Ponce. I mean, there's a lot of stuff along Ponce that doesn't have an active use on the street, including some of the new ones that are going on there. When the town is just up the street, and they just have those sort of windows, grass, and traditional. And then, the lake building is going to be renovated, great building, but there's no plan to do anything off of that as well. So I feel like, from a usability standpoint, this is the highest and best thing right now. It's roads, parking in front, and all that. We're pulling the building forward, giving it a much wider sidewalk, so that we can transition to whatever is going in the future along that stretch. Yeah, that's the idea, is to have a nice signature restaurant or cafe. Yeah, there's a patio over here that it's on the park side. Part of it is on Ponce and part of it is on this corner. So the patio would be here facing Ponce, but also facing the park.
But I think on the restaurant, there's things like stuff in over, and there's empty available area.
Yes, for the garage. We need to make this work. We're at bare minimum. We have 35 one-bedroom units, so there's one space per.
It's a very narrow process, so it's very difficult to get the parking in there.
And the two spaces that we have for the two-bedroom aren't two separate spaces, they're tandem spaces. So we're not even. We are actually taking out any of the trees that are already there, except for potentially two non-native Chinese elms that are not. They're not very nice. The same diameter, either in that part or another part. But essentially, what you see in this, now we've talked with the neighborhood because I think a lot of people in the neighborhood feel that it's just kind of a dark strip that's along there that doesn't really have any activation. So my idea would be to basically do another pathwalk. I think we can talk about in the future. Be happy to donate that land. The action can be there, create a nice, landscape path that kind of circling around the exhibit that's there, but that's now the plan is to.
Okay, in the interest of getting us all out of here before 10 p.m., any other different questions about anything related to this application? Does anyone want to come up and have a look at the drawing? No? You're on the website too. So land use voted in support of this application, and the board also voted in support of the application. So I make a motion that we vote on this application now. Any further questions? Ed, did you have a question? Yeah, so Leanne is here. She lives in the Parkview townhomes, and then the Troxels are not here tonight, but they have been involved with at least 2 meetings that I know of with the developers, including the one where we all kind of discussed what they could do to accommodate their concerns, which were light coming in, the entrance to the parking garage on the end of the building. Pardon? That wasn't really one of their concerns.
It's not one-way street.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there will be additional traffic from these cars here.
They are the parking.
So they're supportive. They're not here tonight to oppose it. And their concerns were that they're rental properties. They don't live in them. But their concerns were mostly about the lights in the cars when they're pulling in and out of the garage, how that would impact them. I think they're going to plant some trees to try to resolve that when these plants have conditions. They were also wondering about the sight line from the condos into their building, but I think you guys worked out that there
You really
isn't
can't
much because of the distance back. The site where those two townhomes are is zoned, it's in the FCI, which means that they're not required to have a transitional height plane, so they could have built this building right up to the edge of that lot, like right next to them, but they chose to adhere to a site plane that doesn't exist by setting it back, so that you can see that in bottom. And that it's not on there, but.
We did basically,
Yeah, I don't know.
we're up the, so that was one of our concerns.
You have the
So we pulled it back. So
one you added?
we have the transitional plane, even though we weren't required to do it, we went ahead. We also, we had a bike storage there that kind of separated our development from theirs. We moved that into ours and put trees on both sides where the cars pull in that, will extend obviously up 30 feet and give them a nice buffer. There are limited windows on their side, and she pointed out that they use it for rentals, so I mean,
Adding trees here and see
it's in an area where you can still access it from the outside or inside, it's right on the edge. So we took it from there and put the trees there to accommodate their request. We thought that would be the best for giving them some sort of visual privacy. They were obviously tall, the spikes were only going for. And we talked about also coordinating them with wood fence along the park side, so that if they're concerned about, homeless people and just camping out there. And I said, well, the good thing about this is you'll have a lot more concern about that area as well. So.
That's nature's way of bringing out the signal. Sorry. How many treatments do we have? A symptomatic support. We can make her feel less pain, give her body a chance to fight it off. Outside of that.
So approving it as is or the condition?
First, we're going to vote on the rezoning. So there are two different things we're voting on, and the rezoning is Z19077, and the conditions that the land use committee and the board voted on to support this application with are limiting the height to 90 feet, which is what it's on. So, and we're also going to tie the approval to the to the specific design. So most of you probably remember we've been burned in the past in this neighborhood where we've approved something and then the designs changed and we didn't get where we wanted. So that's the top level thing. So then limiting the height to 90 feet, 6 stories, limiting the use of cementitious panel. We've also had somebody raise a question about stucco. We're going to talk a little bit more about materials. That they expanded the retail, which they've done, that they let the neighborhood specify the trees. Greg Levine made up a list of some options for them for trees, both on Ponce and on Barnett, for them to have some choices. That they use the vines to screen the garage on the park side and around up until this is way up here. So there's just a little bit here by this entrance that won't be screened by vines, and Greg Levine specified the 2 types of vines that he thought would work, and those are the conditions that we have.
So just for one thing.
Yeah.
It's 6 stories above.
Yes.
Barnett.
Yes. Yeah. So the 90 feet and 6 stories above.
Nothing in that, I know we had discussed lighting along the Barnett, but nothing that didn't get.
That's not one of the conditions. That's something that they would be doing. We can add it as a condition. They're kind of typical things that you condition and then typical.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So those are the conditions on the rezoning application. So we have a vote in favor of this rezoning application for 863 Ponce. Everybody in favor, please raise your hand high so we can count. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so 22 in favor and opposed. Raise your hand. Yeah. Two, so we got two here. Do you have an additional? I've already counted it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have 3 opposed, including 2 absentee ballots. Any abstentions?
Hold it high, guys.
So 22 in support, 3 opposed, and 1 abstention on the, sorry, didn't see that, Jerry. 2 abstentions. All right, so that's on the 19-077, and now we're going to do variance, which is the open space, reduction in open space requirement from 40% to 20%. So make a motion that we vote in support of this in a second. All in favor? Okay. And opposed?
Opposed, hold them high, guys, we can't see them. Okay, then
Yeah. And 2, because that's 2, 3, and then abstention. Same tally, 20 in favor, 3 opposed, and 2 abstentions. So that happens.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and thank you. I'm just going to say thanks again for doing the extra meeting with the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you taking the time to do that. We know you didn't have to do that, and I think it resulted in some changes that made people happy.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
So while they clean that up, we've got our next application is 1037 North Avenue. This is a variance application, number B19-211. We have Sean Wood here with David Ogrum as architect. And this is a variance application. And they're seeking to, so one of the things that we probably should say at every land use, when we do land use issues, but we don't, is that almost none of our lots conform to the 1982 zoning code for the land residential place, because most of our homes were built in between 1915 and 1930, right? So none of us have conforming lots. So whenever people want to build something, they often need to come through for a variance. It's usually for the setback, and that's what we've got here. So the applicant seeks a variance from the zoning regulations to reduce the required east side setback from 7 feet to 3 feet, and to reduce the required rear yard setback from 15 feet to 3 feet in order to construct a detached garage. And these are the typical variances that folks are asking for. 3 feet is what the city will end up allowing. And we don't, the city will tell you, nobody knows where the 7 feet number came from, but it doesn't really work well on our lots, which are mostly 50 feet wide.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Wood. I've been your neighbor since 2001. When I got the house, it had a shed in the back corner, actually on the property line, an old tin shed. It's really bad shape, but I've kept it that way. Kind of vintage now, but it's time to go. And then there's a carport that's also in pretty bad shape, also on the property line. So we're talking about combining it, what we like to talk about today, and then moving it back from the property line in 3 feet. So David is helping me with the process that we kind of explained.
I'm David Ogrum. I'm an architect, but I'm not the architect for this project. I just represent it through the variance and permit process. What we have here is a 1-story, 2-car garage replacing an existing carport and shed. You see on the as-built survey, there's an existing carport and shed that our new garage is going to be. It's difficult to add anything to the site because the sites in this area are smaller. The width, zone regulation width is 70 feet. We have 50 feet. If we had 20 more feet, we probably wouldn't be asking for variance. And the area of the lot is, according to zoning regulations, is was that 7,000 square feet, and we have almost 5. So a couple of thousand feet undersized and too narrow. We wanted to put the garage back far enough and close enough to the property lines that we get a turnaround to get out, and we're getting out on North Avenue. So nobody wants to back out on North Avenue. We need this turnaround request. The other reason was we wanted to get a small yard over here that young kids could play in and make it seem larger than it currently is. Currently, we have a lot of 80 gravel. It's a, as I said, it's a one-story, two-car garage with a little shed attached to the side, a storage unit attached to the side. And I think I just take questions if you have.
I'll just offer a couple more comments. There are things we usually care about, right? Trees. So there are 2 trees in the back of the property. There's a 27-inch hardwood here, and then a tree that's going to come out anyway. And you're trying to get a dead disease or hazardous permit for that one.
Yeah,
right?
it's rotten.
Yeah, and if he doesn't get that permit, then they'll have to pay recompense for removing that tree. And then this is Greg Levine rode over on his bicycle today and looked at it. This is a dogwood that's small, and the root system is 5 feet away, actually farther away than it looks like on this drawing, and it won't be impacted. But this is a 30-foot maple that does have a root system. There's a retaining wall, so what Greg said is that the roots have probably gone down. The retaining wall protects it, but when you do this part of the driveway, you'll have to make sure that the work backs back out. So in other words, this is something for all of us to keep in mind when we do work, when you have an existing driveway, that you use the existing driveway for all of your heavy equipment, that you don't remove it and then have the heavy equipment driving over the roots of a tree, because that disturbs them, but the existing driveway that's there protects them. So that would be the last part of the project that we'll do. And the arborist will tell you all of that.
Yeah, we love that tree. We've had artists look at it recently.
Yeah.
We are putting in a new driveway, and we're putting a grass strip 2 foot wide down the middle of the driveway, which reduces our lot coverage from the existing lot coverage was 56%. We're now at a little under 50%. 50% is the required for the zoning, unless you start off with a higher amount. We could go up to 56, but we wanted to get it down as low as we could. That strip in the driveway helped us do that, to get it below 50%.
So if you have existing lot coverage, the city will let you build to that existing lot coverage, and they were at 53%, I think, and then the land use committee asked them. We've been asking all the applicants if they can try to get down close to that 50% number through using landscaping strips or permeable surfaces. So they agreed to do that. So that was the land use committee's only condition for this variance, was that they add the grass strip and get their permeability down to 50%. Any questions?
Do you have neighbor trees that are represented on the map?
Yeah, so I actually went and I talked to all of our neighbors, including the ones directly in the back that we share some trees. And they were all very supportive, very friendly, and they are open to it. In fact, the neighbor behind me, where there is a large tree, he had been wanting to remove the tree that's diseased in between us. So he said that now would actually be a good time if everything removed, that we could get that large diseased tree out of the way. So we have been in discussions about that. And we're open to our neighbors. I do. I have a map. I have a 8.5 by 11 printer in my house, And so I printed this size out. Anyway, this is 150 feet diameter of my house, and I didn't realize how many houses that would include. So the lots are 50 feet wide or so. That's about, I think it's like 18 houses, and I went door to door, and I talked to everybody, and they were all surprisingly cool and nice. And it was nice to meet people I hadn't met, but yeah, they're all supportive. I got their signatures, and they all supported. Yes.
So back to the question, so what's the turnaround?
It's concrete.
Concrete drive.
So that's existing already?
It's not existing, but it is in the location of existing drive.
Right now we have more space than that. It's old compact gravel.
We're putting in a new drive.
I'm just curious how you could reduce the footage at that.
Well, they were at 56. They were at 56.8 before with their existing conditions. And then they went down to, I think it was 53. You have what you were at before we asked you to add the strip. It may have been 52. So.
It's because the existing drive is a lot larger.
Yeah.
The new drive. And the two structures with the shed and the carport are about the same size structure. It's all good.
Any other questions? Okay. Anything else you want to share? All right, so I make a motion that we vote in support of this variance, which is B 19-11, to reduce the side setback from 7 feet to 3 feet and the rear setback from 15 feet to 3 feet. Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
I think we have one more question.
I'm sorry.
Y'all, did you count which one?
Yeah. Y'all, keep
Put them up again. We've got one different.
So now it's an outlier.
That's without a. In favor. Who's here? You can put your hands down, sorry. Okay. Any opposed? Any opposed? Opposed? Last call for opposed. Okay, abstentions? Any abstentions? No abstentions. All right, so 25 in favor, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions. There you go, you're off to NPU-N next Thursday. All right.
And if y'all didn't hear that, he designed the house in front of Linwood.
That's your house?
It's my house.
Oh, that's everybody's favorite tutor. You designed that? We all love that house. That was your house? You used to live in this neighborhood? Didn't know that.
It's a long time.
Changed a lot. Well, it's good to have you back in the
I'm not.
Just for the day.
Not that, everything.
Well, just here briefly. So next we have 599. Next we have 599 Linwood. Are you here by yourself, Monica? All right. So the owner, Jared. So this is the house. If you turn off of north onto Linwood, it's the second house on the left. It used to be white and kind of falling down, and now it's been rehabilitated. So the house and the addition to the house, you can see it on here. So the house and the addition and the screen porch were all done within the setback. They're also putting in a pool within the setback, so they don't need a variance to do any of that. What they are asking for a variance for is a new carport in the back, and so they're asking for the same, you can all recite with me what they're asking for. They're going to reduce from 15 feet to 3 feet in the back and from 7 feet to 3 feet on the side in order to build this carport. They're also they're taking out an existing driveway and putting in a new driveway. And as you can see, maybe from a distance, this has a landscape strip down the middle as well to try to get them down below 50%. And as Monica would tell you about her talk, they're also going to use some permeable pavers on some of these walkways to get them down by our calculations to under 50% impervious surface. Do you want to talk about anything else, and then I'll go back to the tree issue? Okay.
Just a quick question, since you don't, you know, that in this.
South of North Avenue. Yeah. So it's on the left. So it's the second house in. It's red now. It used to, Steve lives over on Seminole. You might not get over there very often. So it used to be white. If you're walking up to the farmer's market, it was kind of run down over on the left, and now it's all split up.
Still in the room with your dark red color.
Yeah. So the third variance request had to do with the impervious surface coverage. The maximum, like I said, our variance request is very similar to the persons that presented before you. The third request was to increase the maximum from 50% to our initial request was 55%. But working with Ms. Lisa and the neighborhood, we went back and we revised our request, site plan, and all the materials. We got it down to 53.3%. This particular lot, for some reason, had a whole bunch of concrete on it. Before they did any construction, the coverage was like at almost 55%. They had to remove a lot before we did any of the things that we were asking for with construction of the patio, the pool, and the small addition. So they had to remove a whole bunch of concrete. So we were higher, and it looks like we didn't reduce a lot, but we actually did. For example, the existing driveway that's there, you can kind of see it better on this particular part right here. It was over 2,000 square feet, just the driveway alone. The driveway that we're proposing, it'll go pretty much in the same area, but with some things taken out, which would allow for more grassy area on there. We reduced it down to just about 1,200 square feet for the driveway alone. So we did a lot to take a lot of the concrete out so that they would have just a little bit more grassy area. As she mentioned, we are going to, of course, put in flow well to capture the rainwater coming off of the carport. Again, it'll be an open structure, so you won't have the other things you have when you have just a top structure. It'll be open on 3 sides, adjacent to the pool. Also, the flow will capture some of the water runoff that'll come off of this portion of the driveway. And I'll just talk about the tree a little bit. There is an existing 29-inch oak tree that's on the boundary. There are no other trees in the back on the side that are adjacent where the proposed structures will be. We talked with the neighbor, and in reference to the tree, there's existing concrete there. So to minimize any new impact, we actually are going to move it over a little bit more, because I went back even after the landscape architect talked with the city arborist, and she said if we move it over even more, then we will lessen the impact or new impact to this particular boundary tree. We plan on removing the driveway after we finish all of the construction. The driveway will be put in last. Again, that will move it with can material and put all of the measures in place to make sure that the boundary trees, the roots are not impacted anymore. That's basically all that I have. We did receive the support of the neighbors that directly touch all of the sides of the property, as well as across the street. I think 2 other neighbors. I sent mailings just because of the time frame. basically, it was the whole application packet that we submitted to the city of Atlanta. So they would have everything that you're seeing here now and what the city has and what the NPU group will have. So that in the event they want to attend the NPU meeting or even the meeting at the city, again, this is a matter of time because it was like 15 neighbors. So he's still actively working on knocking on the door. So we wanted to make sure that everyone was informed about meetings or discussions relative to this particular application. I'm here for any questions or concerns, and please take it to me.
I heard you have their support with the trade to get their signatures.
I do, in the email, yes.
And may I ask how tall is the structure? It says it's on 3 times?
Yes.
It's like, it's a 1-story.
It's 1 story and it's gonna be 13 feet in height.
It's more of a carport than a room.
It's yes, because it's open, yes, it is.
I think it's gonna be a pool party now, just reading between the lines. I'm not sure if cars,
Right
I'm
now,
not sure if
probably
cars
use
are
it
gonna be in there. So one thing while they're looking at that, I'll share. So the tree, the 29-inch tree is an oak tree, and the way the roots go, it has a really large critical root zone. So the way you have to deal with that kind of tree is a little different than you might have to deal with a pine tree or with the maple, for example, that has the roots going down. So one of the issues that came up, because Greg Levine is now on the board, is that, hey, the arborist isn't going to allow them to do what they first thought they could do. And so we checked with the arborist, and in fact, the arborist said that was true. They weren't going to be able to do what they first thought they could do. And Monica jumped through massive hoops on Monday and Tuesday to get the design to add tree protection measures to the actual plans that we're voting on, and in order to make some changes to try to minimize the impact to that tree. So thank you for doing that.
The arborist likes to
Yes.
And one thing we learned is, so even though this is here with us now and the arborist has looked at it, it will still go back to the arborist after it goes through UVA, and they'll have another look again. And one of the things that they ask for is protective fencing. It's a little harder on this side, but often they want, just for future reference, for any of you who might be doing plans, the chain link fence is more protective than just that orange fence. And then the big thing was that there was an existing driveway that's kind of protecting the roots, and as Monica said, that driveway will stay in place while they do all of this other work, so that there's no bare earth for the heavy equipment to be driving on that would impact those roots. And then the very last thing they'll do is take up the existing driveway by hand, which is not really actually by hand, but with jackhammers, a hand tool, so they can be a little more careful with the roots. And then they'll put down gravel and then a layer of plastic, I think, and then cement. And that all helps prevent new compaction to the roots. Because the oaks are really sensitive. It's easy to kill them, and this is quite a big one. It's a big part of our tree canopy. And on top of that, if it dies, it costs a lot of money to remove it. And I think it's just everybody wants to see the tree stay, but I just wanted to point out that all of those things happened, and those changes were all made in the last couple of days, which is part of the reason that the mailing that went out to the neighbors that they hadn't talked to in person was just sent on Tuesday, because they had to wait until they had these revised plans to be able to send those to them. But the neighbors that they talked to in person had already expressed their support, and I have copies of them. Any other questions? I hope we've all learned a lot tonight. Okay, so I make a motion that we vote in support of this application. Second, and that's what's the number? V19216, and it's to reduce the rear yard setback from 15 feet to 3 feet, the side yard setback from 7 feet to 3 feet, and the impervious coverage to 15.3%. But I'll say again that for our neighborhood calculations, they're actually going to get that down to under 50% by using permeable pavers for some of the walkways, and the city still counts that as impervious surface, so the neighborhood looks at it as you've done something better than what you might have otherwise. So everybody in favor, in support, please raise your hand. You ready, Michelle? Okay. If you wanted to vote a different way, I didn't mean to push your hand.
Yes.
Okay. And then we
No,
have,
that was our last minute.
and then we have one. Okay, anybody opposed? Opposed, nobody opposed? Any abstentions? So that's 24 in support, 0 opposed, and 0 abstentions. So you're on to NPU-N next Thursday. And I'll see you there.
Thank you. And Lisa keeps saying they're on the NPU, but remember, everyone is welcome, not that she's not doing that,
Yeah.
but everyone is welcome to go to NPU-N. It's the 4th Thursdays in the month. So normally they do change it in November and December because of the Turkey Day and Christmas Day usually. But 4th Thursday, go there. They go through pretty much the same process. The neighborhood is asked how they voted, but then the reps from all the other neighborhoods that are in our NPU are there. So if you want to keep following
It's going to be a
something.
very Ponce Highland heavy NPU meeting. We have Kroger, which has to come back because they were absent last time. We have Jerry, where'd Jerry go? 571 Linwood is going to be there. All your favorite people are going to be there at that meeting. If you're looking for one to attend, it's going to be really long and full of familiar faces. So, has anybody been to Kroger? Speaking of land use, is it good?
Also, I'd like to say thanks to Land Use. Who else in the room's Land Use? Anybody raise your hand? Corey, Jim back there is Land Use. Ed is, thank y'all. Y'all have had a massive amount going on, and they have been very attentive to all the details. So thank y'all very much. Corey Atkinson, as we pointed out, our NPU rep, he sits on Land Use and then he goes to NPU. He's going to give us some updates.
Yeah, so real quick, our NPU meeting is next Thursday. We have a piece of legislation that the NPU is voting on from the city. I'm going to read just a little bit about it. There's also a fact sheet that I can share. We can put on the website. But essentially what it's doing is it's defining a small discount variety store. So what that's doing is it's basically, no. So this is a retail establishment with a floor area less than 12,000 square feet that offers a variety of consumer products, including household goods, personal care products, entertainment products, electronics, and other consumer products, including food or beverage for off-premise consumption, and that sells these consumer products at a discounted rate. So 12,000 square feet. So what this is doing is it's intentionally defining these stores, and then it's creating a distance barrier for where these stores can be. So they cannot be closer than 1,500 feet from each other. And what they're doing there is basically trying to create gaps where larger grocery stores can go in that offer fresh food or fresh fruits and vegetables. Because right now these stores are sort of cornering these markets and they're selling just, chips and bags of things that aren't really good for people in these lower socioeconomic areas. So anyway, that is just a little bit about it. I can share more about the legislation. There's a whole long thing about it if you want to read it. But there's also a fact sheet that the city's put out. Any questions or thoughts or comments on that?
How would it impact us?
It would essentially just any new discount stores in the area would have to be 1,500 feet away from existing.
You're saying this is being started by the city?
Yes, it is a city council member.
This to help stop some of the food desert.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Where is this? I'm sorry.
Where is it? It's the city of Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
So it's just going to be new legislation in the city of Atlanta that will live in the city code. And we get presented to it at the NPU. The NPU votes support. All NPUs will vote support or defer or deny or deny. And basically, at that point, that'll go up to the city and they can try to benchmark for how they vote.
And has our neighborhood, supported this or not? And have we made any statements?
Well, that's the reason Corey's bringing it to us.
Yeah.
It doesn't really impact us in the sense that we, like, they're not.
Not go on record as supporting though?
No, we could go, but the point is, it's not like it's gonna happen in our neighborhood, but we can express that we are interested in it in the city, yes. So that's his reason he's bringing it to us. Yeah.
Corey, are there examples in the city that this would eliminate?
To be honest, I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot that I could find online about where this came from. So really all I have is a stat sheet. But I can read you the why that makes you feel, or if they give you more examples. Basically, it says cities, nonprofit groups, and universities across the United States have evaluated the effects small retail stores have had on economically depressed areas. There are a significant number of these small retail stores in the city of Atlanta that conduct small retail sales of consumer goods at a discount price, but fail to offer fruits and vegetables. A proliferation of these small retail stores are concentrated in economically depressed areas with scarce access to health and affordable food options. Communities in the city desire greater diversity of retail shopping choices, including but not limited to conventional grocery stores. So again, the idea being that we're trying to just kind of create more gaps that these stores have to go into versus it being a litter of all of these small discount stores that are sort of eating up that market.
So to Bob's question, would someone want to make a motion that we vote on this? We don't have to, we're not required. Corey just wanted us to be aware so that we could express ourselves if we're interested. So okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let's get a motion and then we'll have discussion. Well, no, you got to get a motion going before you can have discussion.
Yeah, Robert, cool.
Make a motion that we have.
Okay, second, anyone wants to second this motion? Okay, so now we have discussion. Okay, go Bill.
I'm not strongly opposed to it. It just seems sort of like a thing that big box stores might push.
It's just not, it's not unbelievable for a grocery store to be there because they don't think the market is there. I'm not sure how eliminating 3 small convenience stores is going to make it better. I think those larger stores are going to be able to beat out the small stores anyway, price wise, if they want to be there, it could.
I don't know, and assuming sources are already in place.
Yeah, anything that's existing will not be pushed out. It's just about new stores coming in. And again, I think the idea is that those stores are not incentivized to sell fresh fruits and vegetables. And they can make money by selling this packaged processed food.
We're talking about Family Dollar.
Yeah, that would be less than $12.
Yeah.
Like any English Avenue, for things, there's a store, there's a corner. Then there's money.
Steve.
The corner we need to figure out who the city council person.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Also, what's the conversation downtown with the city council person supported?
We got this through NPU. I had heard no discussion.
Yeah, I haven't.
And I'm assuming we'll hear more discussion at the NPU meeting. Corey just wanted y'all to be aware of it, and in case you had some feedback you wanted to share, but I haven't seen any more. When the legislation came through, there was no conversation. I haven't seen it.
I'm not from the group, but that's one of the reasons I do see some
And that's fine. That's fine. Somebody suggested we might vote. It doesn't matter. So we do have a motion. It's been seconded. So at this point, we do need to vote on that motion. So you can. Well. Did I say something different?
It's Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet.
I'm not sure what I must have said. I didn't mean to say something crazy. I just meant we have a motion on the floor. So at this point, you can either vote in favor, against, or abstain, and that would be your way of expressing yourself.
And all that. Yeah, I mean,
Well, to defer, you'd be abstaining, basically.
So basically, when we go to NPU, I'm asking for y'all's thoughts on how I should vote in that moment. So again, NPU meeting's not till next Thursday. If you guys do some research and figure out there's some different information out there that I couldn't find and you feel differently, email me about it. But I think at the end of the day, I just was trying to get a pulse of you guys and ultimately what's going on so I can make an informed vote.
Yeah, that tonight, and then my motion to go.
Okay, I'm sorry, I took it
No, I know,
that way.
that was me.
Okay.
And then the city, I'm confused if it's city council initiative. Really fun, like what is it to other than?
It's just an expression. That's all we're doing with all of this NPU. It's a recommendation that's going forward. So it's a way for neighborhoods to be able to say no, or yes, or we don't know.
So the NPU will be voting on this at their meeting.
Yeah.
So this isn't a rezoning, this isn't a land use
But-
change,
but-
but Corey will vote as our rep on behalf of the neighborhood, so he's just
To
gathering.
be clear, we're voting at the NPU meeting to support, to recommend our support to city council. It's not a binding vote. It's binding.
Nothing, so
It's sort of it's trickle up, right? So we're talking about it here. If we feel really strongly about it, we would vote no. That would be a recommendation to the city council that they maybe should do it.
And maybe so really, we need to do that more groceries in closer range to say areas that are not packaged food.
Yes, and economically depressed areas.
It would be to encourage fresh food, but if you're gonna have stores that have packaged food, it's gonna be like, hey, you don't have to call it.
So I want
This is a precedent.
to add to that, we're not voting on or promoting the fresh food, we're talking about the space that allows.
Yes,
So all we're
that's right.
talking about is certain kinds of entities can only exist. The idea is that you can't fly or create the opportunity for the fresh foods, that's what we're not.
This legislation, right, that's right. This legislation defines what a small discount store is, and it defines the distance that those have to be between each other for new businesses that come into the market.
But yeah, I mean, this needs to be like a big store.
I think it's about something to
and we don't have to,
I'm 100% for but as a precedent of making motions and voting, a lot of no.
Yeah.
And like we have a lot of information to even read what it is.
And this is typically the way the city goes, and we had a similar legislation last month that I abstained on because I didn't have enough information on. So I feel we can certainly abstain. I just wanted to throw it out there. I mean,
Well, you have nothing to defer to, it's not defer back.
Yeah.
When you defer, it means you do that.
Abstaining just means I'm taking myself out of it.
So I want to call them.
Okay. And she wants that, yeah.
Yeah, I had, District 11, I just looked it up, it's Washington Park. So just to get perspective on why they're trying to do this, it's the nutrition thing, that's the reason why. So my question is this the city of Atlanta proposal? And does, that's the motive.
And see, that's how things get done is citywide. They don't do this in the neighborhood here or neighborhood there, so it's whatever, so, yes. As I say, if we don't have, it's not gonna impact Poncey Highland because we don't have some place that's gonna come in with prices in Poncey Highland's gonna do it. But it's just an opportunity for us to express, how we feel. So, the question's been called, and so let's vote. There again, you can vote for, against, or you can abstain. An abstention would be a signal that we don't feel like we have enough information or whatever, and Corey will have that when you sit into you next week. Okay, so all in favor?
was the motion to support?
Yes.
So, right, I'm confused about just that we're doing it right. Okay,
Well, I'm sorry. Go for it. Hurry.
Well, so if we're voting to abstain from supporting, then don't we have to, this happened in NPU, then we have to have another motion to vote to abstain in the neighborhood, right?
Well, if we support it.
No.
Okay, the support members, all right, sorry.
Wait, so then we have to vote no on supporting it, so then we can vote yes to abstain?
No.
If there's not, so
That's what I,
we're voting yes to support. The motion was to support. So if you're Anthony, or you are supporting this motion. If the nays outweigh the yays, then we would make another motion to either abstain or not.
either yea or nay.
You can abstain from this vote if you want. Or you can vote no. Or you can vote yes. Lots of options.
I think I have 11. I think that's not sure what we are doing. She looks like she's kind of late for me, but okay. Opposed? So 11, 2, and any abstentions? Okay. Nine, 10. Ooh, that's close. 11 for, 2 opposed, 10 abstentions. So we don't have to do another something because we have one more in favor. But you can express all of those, give all those numbers.
Well, the support didn't win.
No, we have 11.
Out of 22 votes.
Oh, I've never heard
Some people.
Okay, somebody that's smarter than me needs to figure this out. I thought we had more in favor and therefore. This is the NPU chair. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, so other real quick note, in June at the APAB meeting, it was announced.
Tell what APAB is.
The Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, thank you. Basically, Leah LaRue, who is the NPU chairperson over all of the NPU, she announced that there was a interpretation from the city lawyers that it can no longer, we as a neighborhood can no longer require applicants in MODE, which is the Mayor's Office of Special Events, and alcohol licenses to come before our neighborhood meeting or any sort of process that our neighborhood may have. So that has been interpreted by the law, and that's what the city is telling applicants. We have not seen it happen yet with any of our applicants. All the applicants have still wanted to come before the neighborhood. But just as a FYI, they don't have to legally anymore. They only have to appear before the NPU. We are in the process of appealing to Amir Faroqi to essentially introduce legislation to require applicants to come to the neighborhood meeting. We think it's very important that the applicants have a conversation with us as the neighbors. The applications in themselves are very vague and don't have a lot of information on them. So we want the conversations that we have at both land use meetings at the board level and at the neighborhood level are extremely important for us to understand a little bit more about the applicant and what they're going to be doing in the neighborhood. So there's more to come on that, but just in terms of the very short term, there is no legal requirement. So there might be some applicants that just go straight to it. Yeah.
Leah's email also indicated in the future there may be some more leeway to require applicants for zoning changes to come before the neighborhood, but that does not clearly define. Have you
That's
made any
right.
further judgment on that?
No. So right now, all zoning requirements still have to come before the neighborhood meetings or
Until somebody challenges
until
it?
somebody challenges it.
So does everybody understand what that means? That means that like the applications that we just saw, that if the city lawyers determine that they interpret the way the legislation is written to mean that we no longer require the applicants to come to land use and to the meeting before we're asking you, and we would be making the application.
And I mean, the process would still exist at the NPU meeting. It would just pull all of us up to the NPU meeting if there was things that we were concerned about from a zoning perspective, or an alcohol permit or alcohol license perspective, or a mayor's office of special events. So it's going to make that NPU meeting that's already 3 hours long, probably like 9 hours long. Because everybody's going.
I thought they should skip the NPU meeting.
So you said.
I thought for zoning and alcohol, they can skip NPU altogether and do it directly by the city like that vegan festival in the park.
No, you still have to appear at the NPU.
But you can defer and still get approved by law.
That's right. Well, as long as you appear once. So the NPU, in that case, we deferred, but the MOs basically said you obligated your appearance, and so you don't have to go back for it. So there was, and we at the NPU are no longer going to defer applicants. We're only going to deny because we don't feel that anybody actually has to come back. So there's nobody to defer. No, that was 2 meetings ago or 3 meetings ago with the legal park festival. We deferred them and they never came back and still got their application for a special event for the mayor's office. Do you have a question? So basically we're working with Inman Park and we're basically going to create this massive letter that we're all going to sign, and the NPU feels very strongly about this. All of the reps of the NPU do. So we're going to create some sort of mass effort from NPU-N to appeal to them here and try to get some legislation passed, or some different interpretation of the law. That's it. Any questions, thoughts, concerns?
Doing good, thank you.
All right.
I think the last thing, I've forgotten somebody, the last thing is any kind of update about the planning district conversation that was being had. We don't have any new information. We don't have anything to share. If anybody was aware that there was a meeting planned for, I think it was October 22nd, it will not happen. So we do not have any new information from the city. As we advised everyone at the September meeting, a new petition has been filed, but there again, we don't know what that means or where the city stands. This is the city's process, and so they're the ones that work it. So until they're got the manpower and everything else, then we're, waiting to hear from them. So that's as much as I know on that. The Kate is here with the farmers. Does anybody have a question about that? That was a very simple little update. I have nothing to share other than that, but I'll take a question from that. Okay, and Kate is here from the farmers market.
Hi, I'm Kate. I manage the Ponce City Farmers Market and a shed on the Beltline from 4 to 8 every Tuesday. The species are coming this because it's coming. Yeah. So if you like those, kids like those, we're gonna have them. We have 2 weeks left in our market season, so really love to see some people from the neighborhood come out and support us. We do a lot of programs that we are working with through the end of the year to help alleviate food deserts in the Atlanta area. So we've been working with Brooks a lot on that, and if you have questions about that program, you can find me at the market. We were doing a voucher for $5, and we can tell you all about it. We're getting, it's basically getting people to from the market that don't have transportation to get to the market. And we also do a double snap and EBT program, which gives people double spending power when they have in grocery store or in the corner shop. the content is good, and they pay me, we have TV stuff, and all these people who have to do the things very
Thank you. And I had someone text me during the meeting and made the suggestion that we nominate people for the Halloween contest. Now, I'm not sure how we'll make that happen, because I'm not sure exactly how the form looks, but I think it's a fun idea, because I suggested that to Chris Tilly the other day. So, I think I'm going to suggest that we'll figure out how to make it so on the website you can upload a picture and say you're nominating somebody. But just be on the lookout for that, okay? So that we can get, because as I say, there's some people that have done a great job in the neighborhood decorating their homes. Yeah.
It's not really the only one they were looking for a magazine, so I was just like,
Oh, okay, well, whatever, go. So we'll do that. There again, it's just fun to do the neighborhood. We do Christmas lights, or we did holiday lights, politically correct, holiday lights for years, and we stopped doing it. So this would be a fun way to get us in the mood for Halloween. Anybody with any old business? Any new business? Thanks to everybody. We're heading into the holidays, so I don't know what that means. Our meeting's always the third Wednesdays.
Okay.
Third Wednesdays.
Next to you, that they're not too bad. So that got deferred at the NPU-N, right? So that's not back to the neighborhood.
Because the neighborhood had already, so the land use committee and the board and the neighborhood all voted in support of that application, so it was at the NPU that it was deferred. So that's that. So that's next Thursday.
They weren't given the tree work done, and they also weren't given information by any surrounding
The deferral is back to the NPU. It's the
You don't
NPU.
go down level.
Yeah.
They NPU-N deferred because of the information that you guys put into the NPU, the NPU board are the ones who are doing it. Not.
In fact, it was so long, the NPU said no, okay, and to me, again, I would like you guys to consider changing the system. I could suggest that they amend that, so that that's not how it happened. That forces the people to come all the way back, or forces people to present all of the
accurate information. And to show that the neighbors around them, like tonight, we voted for the people that wanted to do their AVs because all of their neighbors said yes. And in fact, in our situation, all of the surrounding neighbors saying no.
I think they have said no. So the requirement is that by the NPU meeting, you're protected, so you have the permission for the neighbors at the NPU meeting, which the applicant didn't, even though we told them that they needed and the information about the trees and related to trees. And figure out how the trees are progress, but the city arborist doesn't use the tree planters until the very end, but after it's already in the river, like, oh, let's pay attention to the fact that it is not trees that are on the plan. We vote on with the information that we have. And some of it, yeah, and Jerry, so some of the things that we're doing to change that is this month the applications online, so that everybody could go and look at them. Our neighborhood hasn't been doing that any time in the past. And now the applications are there, so people can go look, and if they see like, oh, hey, I got a giant tree that is represented on these plans, and they can bring that to our attention. And then people can kind of, we had some talk to those this time because the applications were there so they could see. I think that we might start doing it's another thing that our neighborhood hasn't done that we can do. So there are different approaches we can take to address the idea of what happened with your application didn't feel good for you. Not your application, but your neighbor's application. So those are the kinds of things that we can do to change that in the future. And so that's what we're going to do.
We're not.
what Lauren would do, or whoever is representing the neighborhood at that meeting, is to express, I was sitting there at the meeting going, defer, I don't know if you saw me, because of the information that was coming up, so it's not like there's some conspiracy, like the vote was taken, but that vote doesn't change. But what we can do is when we're representing, for whoever different opinion, is express, that at the NPU level, we agree with NPU's decision to defer to get more information.
I mean, as the representative of the neighborhood, if there's new information that we'll see at the NPU meeting, I'll have a new, fresh application to look at.
Okay, so then previous vote.
Yeah, I mean,
We won't be coming back
it
to
will
that.
be an influence in terms of, what I heard at this meeting a month ago. But if there's new information that has been presented, and I'm assuming what we deferred them to do was obviously to work with you guys. So if there's that's happened, obviously that's new information.
It has not.
Well,
We got an answer to try to prove it's not our trade, so they have not communicated with us.
so it's going to be fun to do.
It is gonna be fun. We want it.
Okay, so I mean,
Okay, we just wanna make sure that the old vote isn't what's driving you, and that you will be open to new information.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and read surveys for the project session.
it's a new application, yes, absolutely.
So what happens, if I gave information, which I told, say I would give information for a shoulder, I'm on our property, so verify everything they want to verify. And I'll even meet with more people to make sure that they understand our property, because we can misrepresent it if you don't really know what's going on. A lot of things will restrict how much real vertical root zone is available. A lot of vertical root zone is not available because of all the retaining walls, patios around our property.
And once they love our house comes with these trees and all that.
In the context of that, people come up and they start rattling off statistics and numbers and stuff like that. That proves that it's very easy to misrepresent something. No one's telling me how to with the calculations, right? I want to understand a lot of that. So I'm asking somebody to give me something that they're going to present, not 184, 284, so that I can look at what that is. We did the survey, it's 1 month, 2 weeks.
Thing address for 3 nights. You know, 5 other ones on the next.
Nothing has been shown to us, we've been given nothing. Okay, literally nothing, right? I don't know if the community is any good over the neighborhood, I don't know if they're going to ask for a different referral, or what they're going to do. I do know that without any question, that they're trying to build, if they don't go 7 feet away, that they're building on the vertical roof zone. Probably the structural roof like one of our trees. They won't get a permit to do it, they're trying to do it. And all I'm saying is, as it relates to not just me, my house, but everybody in our neighborhood, we shouldn't have green lights and then with this false information, people don't get a chance to re-express what they think about it to you as well, because you haven't heard from everybody. I'm not putting a lot of them to it. I want everyone to tell all this stuff. I think everybody here wants
The
their same
neighbors to
thing.
be able to get up and say why they nay.
Why put everything so that the neighborhood votes on it, at least they vote with all information. And that was all I was trying to say.
Or would it behoove us to go on the 150 radius and have a neighbor signing off on it?
You mean in terms of,
Disagreement plan, yeah, because right now we have 2 out of the 3 that directly touch the property saying nay.
I mean, you can do whatever you guys need to do if you have a case to build. I mean, again, all we can do is require the applicant to meet the checklist of the NPU and
Make a presentation.
yeah, I mean, if they're being false in the information, I mean, again, if it's affecting you guys, you need to present your case as well. That's it.
And then the arborist will, if the tree is at risk, that arborist will survey that point which they will do. Which the 599 window that we saw, so we wouldn't have necessarily known what the information that resonates, right? Because what we saw looks like only a certain percentage of the total trees, right? So, but because he's normally we would look at what we looked at, and then if you get to the arborist, and that's the time that the arborist will say you can't have a permit unless you do X. Right? So that's what will happen with yours too. Or they'll decide to everyone, we're gonna build within the setback, and we'll get a 3-story box. I know you don't care, but the rest of the neighborhood cares.
Well, I also don't like that it's like, we're gonna do this monstrosity, or we're just gonna kill all these people.
Well, I think.
This is the thing that everybody has the right to do. There's no shame, there's this belief system that I keep hearing people say that because the food legislation is everybody gets a free. If you want something that's 2 feet or 3 feet away, you already use that for crowd condition. If you want something that wasn't 2 feet or 3 feet away, you want that space as part of what you're getting. That's what you want. That's the conditions you are. You can't superimpose bad conditions on something that's good. And say that just because everybody, most people have bad conditions, you should have bad conditions too. I don't know why. That's conforming to the current code. I'm more than 15 feet, 7 feet, 35 feet, 7 feet. I'm compliant. I bought that house because of all the space around me. That space matters to me. I'm being crowded. If I wanted a house that was right next to the house, I would have bought a different house. And the idea of because somebody's got a crowded house, you should get one, it's not fair. If you want uncrowded, somebody should come to Appalachia for crowd. Tree or no tree. Now I happen to have a tree in Ponce, but it's part of this historic district discussion. That's a discussion I think that I'd like to hear what community thinks. Not just me, I think everyone should have that right. To say I want uncrowded and get to keep uncrowded. I bought crowded, I accept to get crowded. You bought it that way. You can't complain that it's already crowded.
Or if we're in the immediate neighborhood, connect with interpretation site where they have a support of their neighbors, that is here that they were doing. And I supported them because their neighbors supported them. But in this particular case, we got a strong name for the project from the immediate neighbors property there.
Well, the NPU will look at that, if the immediate neighbors can say no, and have a legitimate say, and the NPU is particularly against it, but that doesn't mean that the DPA will be.
I just want to make sure that that's.
Our vote that the neighbors.
We're building our own garage, ADU, whatever you want to call it, right?
Completely in the setback without any variance.
It's where it's supposed to be. I could try to push it close to one neighbor's home.
Bob, he doesn't like that, and we're working on it.
Out of respect for Bob, because Bob's owned that house for a long time, I'm not jamming my structure right next to the front of his house. Could do it, city money don't let me do it. And there's a moment where you want to think that the people that you live around care enough about other people and aren't sort of self-motivated for themselves, and they would do things that would be of interest to everyone. And that's what I was trying to hope that we vote, that we have some sensibility that's on those lines. I know it's just my
And
idea.
then after presenting information that it's a hardship, when you're comparing it down, and that it's a hardship, it was schools, ADUs, the driveway, all of that stuff.
I'm not.
The hardship thing though is that the terms of the deed, we all, if your lot is not conforming, then just so you're aware, even though that doesn't seem like a hardship to us, maybe that's the city. And so when land use looks at the application, we have to try to look at it based on the city rules, right, but also the neighborhood. That's what we try to do.
Does the city require that the tree impact be shown for trees on the subject property only or all around the?
Only initially.
But you often ask for a tree plan to show the neighborhood trees, but you're not, because you can't as an applicant go and survey your neighborhood trees unless they make property.
This is a failure of government.
There's nothing you can do.
Government.
We can't solve
I know, I'm just saying, you can be right, right? So as it relates to it, like, to me, it's a very simple thing to just say, hey, look, somebody can not give you the right to go on that property, and they lose the right to complain about the impact of the tree. shrubberies will give you permission to have, people that are licensed to come out and measure things, right? I hope they're getting.
Or it'll get to the point where the arborist, anyone can ask the arborist, you can ask the city arborist, I can ask them to go and have a look, and they will, at the neighbor, at all of the trees nearby.
Yeah, so we've had people who, not even them, that are guys who've been in the tree game for 40, 50 years from over the tree. So I think I've changed it. It's mostly what the neighborhood really express all the things we've done. At a neighborhood level, we can say, hey, our policy is we want to have green light, and the neighbors have the right to vote in early, like you guys are seeing people want to do this. Ask your neighbors to give you permission. If they say no, then you can't complain. I'm just giving them, we often work with them. It wasn't like I think they were surprised that they couldn't get it down the road, and that I actually went ahead and hurried up and thought, well, I was doing failed at other things I was supposed to go do so that I could present that information. That information didn't come from that. I spent money and time of my life to go to inform the NPU so they could do it.
And you did a great job, which is why our NPU asked them to go back and get more information from that.
What I'm saying is, they just want to find a good way to model. Like I literally stopped where I was doing. That became my job. Versus doing, I have other things down in my brain.
All right, well, I just want to make sure that Corey will come to this with a fresh thing for the thing. I'm representing the neighborhood because we know that we feel that the neighborhood meeting is not based on that.
Yeah.
So we'll come with our tree people, we'll come with facts and.
And just to, clarify facts versus non-facts, I think it's, again, the application that goes to the city doesn't have to have things around there in terms of trees. These are things that we as a neighborhood are now starting to be more involved in. So, I think it's great. If you want to help sort of write a checklist of things.
I do. That's what I'm saying. I'm good at coming up with protocols.
Yeah.
A procedure that's not onerous and it allows people to.
Are we voting on the vice president coming up here?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, Jerry, you should be president.
I can help administrators come up with mechanisms for you. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
That's a fair way to do it.
And
you'll create that. Everyone goes, like you heard when the historic stuff, everyone just wanted their voice to be heard. Like they feel like you weren't heard.
That was the yay or nay, the third category that was like, we want.
Or why do you talk to neighbors? We want people to work for a city. We don't want to be stuck with the thing that starts out as we're for something, but we want to find a minimum starting point that's at least acceptable for us.
Yeah.
And so like I get all that. And I know it's hard to get 680 people to read it. I can't do this for people to get dinner, right? So it's like the same restaurant with the same food. But anyhow.
Bottom line, I think we as a land use committee can work on a better due diligence process and I know Lisa's doing a great job of putting a checklist together. And it's
We're already making changes. We're going to find out.
Yeah,
It's not usually the case that neighbors aren't trying to cooperate, but it is the city's position that you have certain rights to do those down things, the applicant and the neighborhood. So our job is to also protect the neighborhood.
Each property owner has a right.
To make sure everybody knows what's happening and has the ability to express whether they support or don't support it.
So I won't say I'm saying I would prefer that over jamming right next to it.
Sure.
And I'd like them to do something that's nice. And I'm not against having a full and an ADU. I'm against having a full and ADU where it forces the ADU to be where it is. And I'm particularly against it when the guy who's on the crowded side, 2 feet away, is put on that side, he already bought those conditions. I did.
We presented other places for them for the ADU.
And just make sure it's not an ADU. They're not building an ADU by definition.
Whatever you want to call it.
It's
The garage.
an accessory.
A two-story, just accessory structure. Okay.
We're not against that.
Yeah.
It's not about that at all.
they even are to me, you said about the house, and we said, no, the trees and stuff are fine. And we said, we met out in the hallway, discussed it afterwards. And they said, it's a problem to be two-story structure, and they said, yes, it's protecting the trees. And they have
Excuse me, guys, one quick thing. I need to adjourn the meeting because everybody's left. And then y'all can keep chit-chatting. We do need to kind of go that way so they can close up, but thank y'all for being here. And I hear you. Thank you.
And that was what we asked them to do, is to hire a carpenter to work on protecting not just their trees, but their trees as well. So that's what we hope to happen. But it doesn't feel like that.
They got a survey for an option, we're going to do 30 years on our property. So we had to